This is just insanity. How is he trying to act like he's on the populist side of things? Or is he in favor of wage increases here in the United States?
Far-right MAGA pundit Benny Johnson is twisting himself into logic pretzels to defend Donald Trump's tariffs and to say that money, it's not that big of a deal. Who cares? Emma Vigeland broke all this down on the Majority Report. We're going to take a look at clips of her talking about what Benny Johnson had to say. I have thoughts to share on this too. Let's check it out together.
Benny Johnson is engaging in this mass gaslighting project that the most shameless of the conservative pundits are on board with. Like, I saw Ben Shapiro was criticizing tariffs, and he's more of a traditional conservative. He just cares if line go up, and he has a friend who's in the diamond business who's a little upset because we can't we can't mine diamonds here. We don't have diamond mines. Like, you got to get those from Africa. And his friend's like, I want to make money off my shady diamond business, buddy, that maybe employs kids in the poorest countries in the world. But I feel like Janine Pirro was saying, who cares about your 401k?
Right. We played that Friday.
So she's really a true Kool-Aid drinker. And I guess Benny Johnson is putting himself up as one of the more shameless people here now, too.
Losing money costs you nothing. This is just the reality of life. Were you young and dumb? How much money did you lose? Everyone loses money. Everyone loses money. It costs you nothing. In fact, it builds quite a bit of character. In fact, you learn a lot of lessons, actually, by losing money.
Wait, hold on.
Losing your...
I just have to fact check for a sec.
Isn't that the main thing it does? Does it cost you something when you lose it?
Right. Losing money kind of definitionally does cost you.
You can actually put a dollar figure on it.
But maybe he's thinking about our spiritual well-being. The stuff that conservatives are always interested in.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure that's what plagiarist Benny Johnson's thinking about.
Quite a bit of character. In fact, you learn a lot of lessons, actually, by losing money.
Oh.
Losing your character costs you everything. Losing your country costs you everything. There are things you can't get back. The government can print more money, and it will. Sadly, that's just the reality.
Wait, why sadly? If you could just do that,
it's just that there's a boom and a bust every 10 years, and it's been that way since the invention of modern markets in the 1600s. The Dutch crash of 1649. You ever heard of it? It's just the way that it works. It's the way that monetary policy has always worked. There's going to be ups and downs, especially as things...
You mean capitalism, not
right.
Monetary policy, you moron.
Especially as the table gets reset.
And why is he whispering?
He's trying to calm everybody down.
Monetary policy has always worked.
The mic closer.
There's going to be ups and downs, especially as the table gets reset. If you lose the character of your country, if your town gets hollowed out, give me that photo of that town, man. Give me the photo of that.
Why is he so somber?
The thing is so if your town gets hollowed out, the thing that hollows it out is losing money.
No, it's migrants.
No, that's one hypothesis. My understanding of it is, say, investment all of a sudden goes down in places like the Rust Belt, for instance. I don't think it was a spiritual malaise. I think it was money was leaving there.
This is a character building exercise for the country. That's no pain, no gain.
Just gotta grind harder.
Yep, you got a hole in that 401k. Just rub some dirt in it.
Get a infusion of cash from Russia like this guy did.
If your town gets hollowed out and your entire neighborhood gets addicted to opioids and your steel mill shuts down and your farmers can't grow crops and there's no more cattle ranchers, there's no more cowboys.
We just had
it's a mindset problem.
There's no more fishers.
Yeah.
Fishermen.
There's no more workers. And we're completely and totally dependent upon slave labor peasants across Asia to make every good and service.
Conservatives are like, I like that.
Pharmaceutical.
Yeah, what do you want to go make the shoes?
Yeah. Okay. No, but so now we have to become the slave laborers. We have benefited from free trade and global capitalism in such incredible ways. The fact that, yes, there are kids making your shoes for little to no money in these sweatshops, in these horrible conditions. Yes, that benefits us, for we don't have to pay as much for the goods that we want. And now he's basically saying, well, we got to bring that here. Okay, I agree corporations should be paying living wages, but that's not what's happening. Ugh.
But we're going to maintain the robots.
Emma Vigeland is exactly right about what she's saying here. And what's so idiotic about this is, if you said to Benny Johnson or any of these other MAGA pundit people, okay, let's pay people more here. Let's raise wages. Wages are way too low here. Psh, that's communism, is what they would be saying. And this is the first time I've ever seen Benny Johnson. Now, I've only ever seen him on Piers Morgan's show, because he goes on there a lot, and I do videos about that. I don't think I've ever actually seen him on his own show. This is the first time that I've not seen him laughing and smirking like some kind of creep.
I mean, losing money costs you nothing. Yeah, go on.
Pharmaceutical, then you've actually lost your country, and then we are the slaves. There you go. This is West Virginia, and it's so sad.
This is all going to get
This
worse.
was a factory that provided thousands of honest, good-hearted, steel-working jobs for our fellow countrymen.
Then what happened?
And it was ripped. The guts of it got ripped out. And
All right.
Sorry, how do the guts get ripped out of something like that? How could it be other than the people who take the money out of it and make the decisions? The executive board decides, hey, we could make this way cheaper somewhere else. Fuck these people. And that is the system that Benny Johnson goes to work every day to defend.
Any more of this?
shipped by people like Mitch McConnell so that they could make a couple extra points in their portfolio to get stock swaps with Pan-Asian countries.
Dude, okay.
And they sold out their countrymen.
This is just insanity. How is he trying to act like he's on the populist side of things? Or is he in favor of wage increases here in the United States? Or would that be communism
I think
or
he would say
socialism?
nominally. He thinks this will lead to that.
Right. I mean, losing money costs you nothing, I guess.
The problem we're in is
eating food has no calories.
The problem we're in is that all the stuff about our economy is being hollowed out because the people that own it want the cheapest profit imaginable, which doesn't mean sustaining work here. All that's true. This is going to make it worse. This is not going to turn the tide. This is like that sucking sound that Ross Perot famously mentioned in the NAFTA negotiations back in the 90s. That's just like accelerating. It turned into a whoosh.
Right. And we just had Kowalski call in and say that 3 out of every 5 acres of farmland in the United States is for exports, right? That's what he said.
Right.
That's an entire major sector of our economy that we already subsidize with the federal government that is going to be really affected by this too. Like Donald Trump, them working backwards here to justify Donald Trump waging war on his own constituents and on the country, at least economic warfare for some goddamn reason, is a bizarre exercise.
And Emma Vigeland is exactly right with what she's saying here. Imagine if this were happening, if this had happened during the Biden administration, or if this were happening in a Kamala Harris administration, what the MAGA people would be saying. Can you imagine Benny Johnson saying, it's just money, who cares? You know, your 401k, your investments dropped. Who cares? It builds character. I mean, they would be absolutely on the war path if a Democratic president had done this. And who buys this anyway? Who is actually watching Benny Johnson? I assume his audience is probably mostly teenage boys. I mean, let me know in the comments if you know what his audience is, but I imagine, he's in that kind of teenage boy demographic. So maybe they don't have any money, but anybody who's a little bit older and has investments, are these people watching Benny Johnson and saying, oh yeah, I lost thousands of dollars. I talked to a friend yesterday who said he's down about $100,000. I mean, he knows, or he's keeping his fingers crossed that it'll come back up at some point, but he's down $100,000. So who is watching this and saying, yeah, Benny, you're right. It's just money. You can't take it with you. It's no big deal. Benny Johnson has to be one of the worst of the worst. And I know there's so many of these MAGA pundits that are awful, but Benny Johnson has to be one of the worst of the worst. And I mean, they can just turn on a dime from something that they said 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago, it would have been like, tariffs are bad, wages in the United States, if you want wages to be raised, they would be railing against that, railing against Bernie Sanders and AOC, talking about income inequality. And now all of a sudden, Donald Trump is instituting these tariffs and they're justifying them and saying that money doesn't matter. Who cares about money? It's just absolutely insane. But what do you think about what Benny Johnson had to say here? Can he keep an audience saying insane stuff like this? And do you agree with Emma Vigeland? Is she right about this assessment of Benny Johnson? Let me know in the comments what you think. Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. I'm Chris on Culture, and I will see you in the next video.